Right, it's just finished the panel, which was a very intense couple of hours, and we're now back in the sandbox, and I'm here with Paul Egglestone, the man. How are you feeling?
It's great actually. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed the last couple of days. It's just been a creative buzz, so I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
It's been a massive achievement, hasn't it? I mean, you've been planning this for only 3 months, and you've put this whole conference together.
Yeah, I think that's probably been the tallest order. I think we always thought that we weren't going to allow it to take over our lives, but we haven't had that luxury, to be honest with you. It has taken over our lives.
Because there's an awful lot of infrastructure involved, and we've got all these venues across the city of Preston all interacting and being led back into this hub, and it's been a really full experience for only 3.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Sandbox got a great technical team. That has to be said sort of up front. They've got people who program stuff, people who understand bandwidth and servers and all those kind of bits and pieces as well. So they've worked pretty tirelessly over the last few weeks with our sponsors. Actually, T-Mobile have provided us with all this kit to make sure we had those kind of wireless networks that would feed back into the hub. So I'll be disingenuous actually if I said, yes, that was terribly hard work for me, because actually I did. This is a true story. Received from our kind of senior creative technologist Ono. I noticed one Sunday morning when I got up, or Monday morning when I got up, I had an email from him still from the office at sort of 3:15 in the morning. So some people have definitely been burning the candle at both ends to make it work.
Massive effort. This is going to be one of those really, really annoying questions I'm going to ask you right now. What for you, so personally, not having to speak on behalf of everyone, has been the most interesting point that you've taken away from the whole couple of days?
Okay, I think there are. I think one of the things that I thought was a kind of real sort of breath of fresh air for me came out of one of the turtle groups, and it wasn't an action point per se. It was more like it was an experience. We were sat in a turtle group with a kind of mixed bunch of people, and there was a guy, 18-year-old, wants to be a journalist, wants to do his NCTJ exams, etc., but sat round with some fairly senior professional kind of journalists, and being part of a conversation with them about the future of journalism, about his experience, sharing their experience. Suddenly I just had a kind of moment where I thought, actually, this is what we wanted to do. This is what we wanted to happen, so that if we got, in the kind of turtle format, we'd got people with no experience or very little experience and people with lots of experience, and they could just spend time having a conversation together. That was a really great thing for me.
And all this, obviously, we keep on saying this because it is really important. This isn't just an echo chamber conference. This is all about getting this out into a manifesto delivered to government about what the creative industries want from them. How are people going to be able to participate in that process?
Okay, I think we will be inviting people who've chaired Turtles, for example, led the Turtle sessions. We will be inviting them back here into Sandbox at some point. I can't tell you when yet, because we've put a date in the diary. A lot will depend on everybody else's diary, but in the not too distant future. Well, there's enough distance to reflect, but not so much distance that everybody's forgotten completely. They'll participate in I guess a facilitated event here that will run at Sandbox that tries to distill further the material that was generated in those turtle sessions. That'll be one way that people can collaborate. People who participated in and attended the event will be able to do that through the website. I don't know, maybe we'll chuck up a Google group or Google Wave or whatever it may be that people can then still participate.
And if everyone, if you make sure that everyone tags their content, so whether you're doing YouTube, you're doing Audio Boo, you're doing blogs, if it's Google searchable, then we'll find it. So if you're out there and you've been taking part, make sure that if you're blogging, if you're putting content out there, tag it Open09 or #Open09 if you're on Twitter, and it's to get hold of that, because this needs to be all of us talking about creative futures. One last one.
Cool.
I think that you guys have been really good actually at understanding that the process of a conference doesn't end at the beginning of the conference. You've been forever listening to the Twitter sphere. When audio wasn't working, you made an effort to try and get that working, not on the streams, but only on the streams, but also today when audio was a little bit of a struggle during the panel. One thing which I have seen throughout Twitter was an overwhelming feeling from the outside that we were being sort of overly critical, and I think that came across because you have to be critical of the forms in order to explore them and find where we want to go, but I thought it might be nice to end on a note of positivity. So what do you think is the most positive thing that we can take away from this conference, or that you've seen aside from that?
From the other example. I mean, I think the overwhelming kind of, and the panel session summed it up. I think it's implicit amongst most of the creative community that we are natural kind of collaborators generally, even when we're competitors, we still have to collaborate. And at the end of that kind of panel session, that notion that we would want to carry on collaborating, broaden that sense of collaboration, still come back and collaborate yet further on producing a manifesto, and maybe even doing this whole thing again. It demonstrated to me that there's there's kind of I guess life in the old dog that is creativity yet.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for your time. So if you wanted to get any of the social media content that's been around today, you just need the Posterous, and the quick address for that is just bit.ly/open09. Anything on Twitter was all hashtagged open09. Everything should be there, and keep an eye on the open09 website. So continue participating in the process.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.